All right, today we're going to dive into one of the most incredible stories ever told, and it's our own. We are going way back, right to the very beginning, to look at the microscopic architectural marvel that builds the most complex thing we know of, the human brain and our entire nervous system. I mean, really think about that for a second. How do you go from a simple, flat layer of cells to the intricate command center that is right now, at this very moment, processing my voice? It sounds impossible, right? Well, that's the mystery we're unpacking today. And what's wild is that this whole process kicks off super early in our development. We're not talking months in. Nope. The spark, the real beginning, happens right around week 3. It's in that tiny little window that the first most critical steps are taken. Okay, so let's start with phase 1. You need the right ingredients, and you need a signal to tell those ingredients what to do. Every great construction project needs a blueprint and a foreman, right? Well, our biology is no different. So our starting material is this stuff called the ectoderm. It's the top layer of 3 fundamental layers in a really early embryo. You can kind of think of it as this versatile sheet of biological clay. It has the potential to become our skin and, just amazingly, our entire nervous system. But how does a part of this sheet know it's supposed to become a brain and not, say, an elbow? It gets a message. A chemical signal is sent up from a structure just beneath it called the notochord. And that signal is basically the first command. It says, okay, this section right here, you're up. It's time to become the nervous system. And once that signal is received, the physical transformation begins. And this isn't some chaotic mess. No, it's an elegant, incredibly precise act of biological origami. It's beautiful. So the first thing that happens is that patch of ectoderm that got the signal, it thickens up. This creates what's called the neural plate. This is it. The very first visible sign of a nervous system. It's like the blueprint has been laid out and the construction lines have been drawn. And from here, the folding really gets going. It's basically a 3-step dance. First, you've got your flat plate. Then its edges, or folds, they start to lift up, kind of like popping the collar on a shirt. And finally, those rising folds begin to grow toward each other, right over the center. You want to know the best way to picture this? Seriously, just think about zipping up a jacket. The 2 sides rise up, and then they meet in the middle to fuse together. You've just turned a flat piece of fabric into a closed, perfect tube. It's the exact same principle at work here. And that zipping up motion, well, that brings us to the grand finale of this first act, sealing the tube and creating the precursor to our entire central command center. And what you get when that zipper closes is the neural tube. This simple, hollow little structure is the direct ancestor of our central nervous system. If you take one thing away, let it be this. Everything that makes you, your thoughts, your memories, your actions, it all starts right here as this single, elegant tube. And its destiny is just incredible. From this one structure emerges the brain, the entire spinal cord, and almost all of the specialized cells like neurons and glia that make up our central processing unit. It's all right there, in embryonic form. But wait, hold on. Because that's not the whole story. There's this fascinating little subplot happening at the exact same time. As this main structure is forming, a totally different group of cells decides they're going to go on an adventure. So right at that moment, when the neural folds are meeting and zipping up, a cluster of cells at the very peak of those folds just breaks away. Instead of joining the tube, they detach and become free agents. They are the great explorers of the embryo. And these little travelers, we call them the neural crest. Their defining feature isn't what they form right away, but their ability to move, to migrate. They separate from the main group and they travel to literally all corners of the developing embryo on a very different mission. So this is where it all comes together. We've got these 2 parallel stories creating the final blueprint for our entire nervous system. You have 2 distinct groups of cells born from the same exact event, but with totally different fates. So here's the big difference, right? On one hand, you have the neural tube. It stays put. It becomes the central command, the brain and spinal cord. On the other hand, you have the neural crest cells. They're the ones that migrate out to form the vast network that connects that command center to the rest of the body. And what is this communication network? Well, it's the peripheral nervous system, or PNS. Every single nerve in your arms, your legs, your organs, every cell that carries signals to and from your brain, it originates from these wandering neural crest cells. Now, they do form other important cells too, but their role in building this peripheral network is just crucial. So let's just do a quick recap to lock this in. The neural tube folds and fuses, creating the central nervous system, that's your brain and spinal cord. Meanwhile, the neural crest separates and migrates, creating the peripheral nervous system, the whole network of nerves throughout your body. Two processes, two systems, all from one single origin. I mean, isn't that just mind-blowing when you really think about it? From a single sheet of cells, a simple chemical go signal, and this elegant little fold, nature builds our entire reality processing machine, but the central computer and all the wiring needed to connect it to the world. In the end, this incredibly complex result comes from just a few simple rules: thicken, fold, fuse, and migrate. And it kind of leaves you with this big question, doesn't it? What other profound complexities in our world, and maybe even in ourselves, are built on such simple, elegant foundations?